This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
We're on. Hi, everyone. I didn't say that. Okay, look, but I love you already. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the tonight's the empty chair for the addict that didn't make it. We are so lucky to be here with these two amazing women that are on the show and our dog Chase, but you can't see him unless he stands up. So
Chase is here with us.
thank you all for tuning in tonight. We are really we have an amazing show ahead of us tonight. But before I go into it, I always like to give updates in regards to where we're at with overdoses and what's going on in the area. So first of all, I would like to thank Officer Danny Sinclair from Newburyport PD, who allows me to share this information because it just it shows us that it's not going away, but it also, hopefully by sharing this, people that listen will know that there's a place to go and there are resources. There are so many resources out there. It's incredible. So in the Merrimack Valley since January 1st, and the Merrimack Valley that I refer to is Haverhill, Lawrence, Methuen, and North Andover. We have had 379 overdoses, which has increased 27 since my last show, which was last month. And of those, 44 overdoses were fatals. So Haverhill had 80 overdoses with 9 fatalities. Lawrence had 213 overdoses with 29 fatalities. Methuen 51 with 4, and North Andover had 8 with 0 fatalities. And these numbers, these only reflect the numbers that we're called to, that 911 reports to. And right now, so many people carry their own Narcan that we don't have those numbers. So, but listening and hearing these numbers, and when I see them, it just makes me advocate more, educate more, and just put our hands out there to be a resource to so many individuals. So if you're struggling, please, or if you know of anyone that is, please reach out. I had a friend call me today. He's like, can I give someone your number? I'm like, if you know me, you never have to ask if you can give my number. You give my number. Just give it. It's everywhere. As long as you don't put it in bathrooms, then I'm screwed. So anyways, some upcoming events that we have. So this coming Tuesday, Phil Leahy will be hosting a live show on Methuen TV. And the title of the show is The Ones Left Behind. This is a follow-up show from 9 years ago when he met with families that had lost a loved one. And these families are coming on to discuss how they coped of losing their loved ones and where they are at in their lives right now. So if you want to tune in, it will be Tuesday night on Methuen Cable TV. There will be Joyce Middlemiss, Doug Griffin, Libby Strauss, and Jim Zanfagna. These are 4 of the, I think he had 6 families on that are coming back to let us know how they've coped over the past 9 years and what they have done since then. The show will be live on Xfinity on 22 Verizon, Xfinity 22, Verizon 33, and 2133. You can also see it live on MethuenTV.org or YouTube. And the show offers audience participation. So if you want to be a guest on the show, you want to sit in the audience, I encourage families who have lost a loved one to be part of the audience because you can ask them questions. And I really think this will be a part of healing for not only the families that are sharing where they're at with their lives, but also with those in our audience. Or if you just want to be in the audience to be cool and rock star and hang out with me and Phil, we want you. So if you do want to reserve a seat, reach out to myself or Phil. Also a reminder, every Monday night we have a family support group at the Methuen Police Department. It's called the Circle of Hope. We meet from 6:30 to 8. Fran and Phil Leahy run the group. I sit in case there's a crisis or a family that needs help with any type of situation. And we also host the resource night, the first Monday of the month. And I forget who I have coming in January for a guest speaker, but I will have it on Facebook, so you can come then. Also, the first Monday, I do Narcan training at 6 o'clock, 6 to 6:30. So if you need Narcan, need to get comfortable using it, I have a mannequin. You can just get comfortable with opening the package and utilizing it. If you're uncomfortable coming Circle of Hope, you can reach out to me or you can call Phil directly. Him and Fran like to have families over at their house to have coffee, just to get people comfortable with talking about a crisis that's going on in their life. Not everyone's ready to walk into a room filled with families to start pouring their hearts out. So for more information, reach out to Phil at 978-886-2949. Also, I have a list of local Christmas alkathons. I left them at work. However, I do know one. The closest one in that area is at the Ray of Light Cafe. It starts Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. and it goes Christmas Day at 8 p.m. And if you don't know what an alkathon is, it is a 24-hour service that the doors are open. So anyone struggling with the holidays has a place to go. There'll be food, I'm sure. There will be music at this one. And they have guest speakers speak on every hour. And it's just a place. When I think about the fellowship saves lives. You come into the fellowship first, and sometimes you find some of the bestest friends in the whole world. But you bounce around. You bounce around to find the fellowship, the meetings that you want to go to where you can identify with people. And then after that, you can do the work. But the fellowship saves lives, especially during the holidays, by offering an alkathon and having a facility open 24 hours so that you can run to it and just be with like-minded people who are doing the same thing, trying to stay sober just one day. You have a safe place to go. So those will all be posted on MVPASAP's Facebook page, as well as my own personal, my work. They'll be listed everywhere. Again, I do know off the top of my head, though, Ray of Light Cafe, which is on Merrimack Street in Haverhill. And that, again, starts at 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve to 8 p.m. Christmas Day. And that's really all I have for events. Again, I was going to talk about some that were within the Essex County, but I left it. So that means we get to jump in and have some fun with these two beautiful ladies and a dog named Chase that y'all can't see because he's on the ground. I wore my hat to get into the holiday season. I'm going out with my high school, or actually grade school girlfriends tomorrow night. So I had to pull out my hat to start getting ready.
Love
Yeah,
it.
That's so fun.
yeah, and I'm excited to be with them. I really am. And one of the benefits of recovery is having long-term life friends that stick by me, and I stick by them. And my friend and I were talking today, and I said, if I die, like, you guys going to be in my obituary. Like, who I left. And she's like, oh my God. She goes, well, I want you to take my phone and text everyone at the wake and say, from my phone, and say, it's dark in here. Can you turn on the light? So I freak out everyone. I'm like, oh, good Lord, the things we can come up with. So,
Oh my God.
but that being said, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to see Lou. I'm happy to be sober. I celebrated my 36th sober anniversary, October 16th, which is pretty amazing. Thank you, God. And went on a little tour of talking to people. And someone put, of course, Chase is here.
Do you know
I don't know,
that?
Sylvia. Yeah, Chase is here. Mm-hmm. And he's wondering why he can't be on the TV, but we'll get him. So I have two beautiful women. I don't want to waste time talking anymore. I just want to introduce both of you. I thank you both. Christina is a board member of MVPASAP. I have witnessed her journey since the very, very beginning. And when I look at her, I get emotional. I was just saying to her before we started tonight, can you believe who you are? Because you were so broken. You were so lost. And today you are such a radiant light, and you are helping so many people. And that's because you fixed yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you put the oxygen mask on you, and you found you, and you created you, and you are an absolutely beautiful woman that I'm so blessed to call friend.
Thank you so much for that. Well, because when I first came to you guys, I was on the verge of relapse.
Yeah.
I was very, very close to relapsing, and I reached out to my community, and that's why I tell people, like, reach out when you need that help.
Mhm.
The help is out there. Connect with people, connect with your community.
Yep.
You are needed.
Amen.
And you were there to show me that,
Hmm.
yeah, we need you. Let's put you to work.
Yeah, either that or I was putting you in an institution.
Yeah, it was
Either one of the two. She calls a lot. But you're amazing. So thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing this beautiful goddess. This is Lexy,
Oh, boy.
who I just met in the parking lot. She is absolutely stunning. I can already see that inside and outside you are absolutely
Aw.
beautiful.
You too.
And I so look forward to hearing your story and how you got to where you're at. I know you're a woman in long-term double-digit recovery, almost 10 years. And also into the nutrition part. So tonight we're just going to hear your testimony, a little bit about your experience, strength, and hope, what happened, how'd you get sober, why did you get sober, and how are you creating a life today that other people might be interested in listening to.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an introduction. Thank you so much. Also, Lindsay said, my ladies and my god dog. Hey, Lindsay.
Oh, and that's Alexis.
Is that our Alexis? It is.
It
Chase
is.
is the best. Oh, thanks. She gives
So is
Christina
Christina.
kudos. Thanks, Alexis.
Well, Chase's is the best.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for having me
Yep.
here. Thanks for putting this together. My name is Lexy. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Lexi.
Hi. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, on the way over here, I was able to have 2 Thanksgivings this year. I had one Thanksgiving with my mom. My parents are divorced, so I did one Thanksgiving with my mom, my sister's kids, and then I did one with just my dad at my apartment.
Yep.
And I was thinking back to, and I actually shared this with clients recently at Meta. I was doing a group, and we were talking about, the holidays and getting a little squirrely with drinking and, how food plays into that and all that stuff. And I was telling them, like, I was asked not to come to holidays.
Yeah.
Towards the end of my drinking, there was a lot of drama that I had created, right? That I always thought was other people's fault. Like, I thought I was the innocent one, and, like, you're all being mean to me. And, like, I didn't do anything wrong, but I did do all of it wrong, right? And that was rough. Like, I missed a lot of things because of my drinking. And so just thinking, like, how nice it is. Those little things I still 9 years later don't take for granted. And I'm so grateful that I don't. Like, I wake up every single day and I'm like, this is beautiful. Like, I know where I woke up, who I am, who I'm with, if I'm with anybody.
You know, like, where you parked the car.
Where I parked the car, huge. Know where I parked the car. It's the same spot every single night.
Yep.
And my morning is like this beautiful, like, morning routine I have. And before it was like waking up behind dumpsters and, like, not knowing, like, where my clothes were and, like, who had done what, and, waking up in really scary situations. And it's still, it doesn't get old. Every single day I'm like, this is beautiful. So to rewind to my drinking, I started drinking when I was 13, and I feel like that's such a common, beautiful, magical age that so many people start at. But I just was always very uncomfortable in my own skin. Like, I just could never relax, and I was always felt like the black sheep, and, like, there was just something wrong with me, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I, like, felt so much. Like, I was such a feeler, such an emotional person, and, like, a raw nerve, and couldn't be soothed, like, no matter what I tried. And then I remember drinking finally with my friend, and I didn't know what I was doing. We didn't know what we were doing. And she was like, you want to drink this Sky vodka? And I was like, sure. So we, like, started drinking, and she, like, gets out glasses and, like, OJ, and she's, like, making these mixed drinks and stuff. And I'm like, just give me the bottle. Like, I just knew right away. I was like, I don't need all that fancy stuff. Like, I just need this in my body as fast as possible, as much as possible. And from that moment, I just felt this, like, warmness over my entire body, mind, and spirit. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is going to help me live. I'm going to be able to get through the rest of my life. Anything that comes up, any pain, anything at all, I'm going to be able to get through it because I have this, like, constant anesthesia. And I didn't like totally like, it didn't pop off like from that moment. But every time I could get alcohol, I did, and weed. And like high school was sort of like when I really started getting crazy. But it really like shit hit the fan in college. And I remember I chose my school, like I got into UConn, some small college in Rhode Island. Is URI small? I don't know, whatever. Some college in Rhode Island. A small school. And then some other place. And I was like, oh, UConn, like that's a drinking school. Like I'm going to go to UConn because I know that I can like get really fucked up there. So I go to UConn and, you know, they say it's like fun and then it's fun with consequences and then it's just consequences. And that's exactly what happened to me. Like I just remember getting to the place. Like at first it was fun. There was definitely a period of time where I was like, this is the life. Like I'm like in college and like I like eat at the dining hall all the time and I got all these new friends and like I'm just like going out every night. I'm like using a fake ID and getting in and like dancing on the bar all the time and like getting kicked out of the bar. And I was like, this is so fun, you know? And then eventually it was dark. Like I feel like it got dark really fast. Like I started losing friendships. I stopped being able to function well, you know, like it began to be difficult to like take a shower and get dressed and eat, and like activities of daily living became difficult. And that's when like the waking up in strange places with strange people and strange situations really started. And then I graduated college and moved in with some friends that I had been friends with forever. And we were living in Boston. And I remember they would go to work like on Monday, you know, and like Monday would roll around and after like a crazy weekend, I was like, I don't need to go to work, right? So I wouldn't go. And then like Tuesday would roll around, I'd be like still hungover from Monday. And like my friends around me were in relationships and healthy relationships and like, you know, doing things and having hobbies and just like normal stuff. And I remember thinking like something's really different between us with my drinking, you know? So on St. Patrick's Day, on St. Patrick's Day of 2000, actually, no, I got to rewind. Something really massive that happened that I 100% think was my higher power coming into my life and being like, Lexy, you need to wake up, is I was, went to Mexico for my 25th birthday. And I was driving a jet ski drunk in the ocean of Mexico. Okay. So it's not like a lake in New Hampshire or anything calm or chill. It's the ocean. And I have never ridden a jet ski in my entire life. So here I am thinking like, I know what I'm doing and I'm completely in a blackout. So I do remember like walking on the beach and I'm like browning out at this point. And then I don't remember anything else until I woke up to a whole slew of Mexican lifeguards around my face, wiping blood away from my face. And I was like, what just happened? And I would have died. So I was driving. My girlfriend was on the back of the jet ski. And I hit the wave and like came up and then hit it like down on the console, like my whole face. And so I got concussed and was drowning in the water. And if she hadn't been there to like find me and like pull me up until the lifeguards could come out and save me, I would have died. Wow. And it's like people say like inches and seconds, you know, like we survive and we're here by inches and seconds. And that's one of my things that I'm like that something was looking out for me at that point. The interesting piece though, right, is that I did not get sober. That's not my sobriety date. January, when I was 25 years old, whatever year that was, 2014, I didn't get sober. I kept drinking. And I remember, this is the insanity of alcoholism for me. I'm sitting in a recliner, right? I can't eat anything because my mouth is completely busted, right? I got like stitches here. I broke my nose. Like my face is a mess. I'm in a neck brace because I had a fissure on my spine. Almost would have been a quadriplegic if I had like
Whoa.
gotten it, like been going faster and had it be worse. So I'm sitting there and I can't eat anything. I'm drinking Ensure because I can't get food in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
However, I put a wine bottle right here and I put two straws together because the wine bottle like just had to sit right here, right? And so I'm like, one straw didn't do it. And I was like, I know, I'm going to get another straw, put them together and drink, right?
Yep.
That's the insanity,
That's the madness.
right? I'm like, I can't figure out food, whatever, but like, I got to
have some wine right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So then I did that for the next few months. And then St. Patrick's Day, I started the morning at like 9 a.m. doing like 7 Irish car bombs just back to back.
What is it?
Irish car bombs. It's like, I don't really remember what it is.
It's
It's like
Guinness and
Guinness
Bailey.
and a shot of
Bailey.
Bailey
Is it
or
that-
God help you.
Jameson.
Yeah, he knows what it is.
Let's Google it.
I wish I did, but no.
I want to say it's whiskey. I
Yeah.
think it's a Guinness,
Guinness and whiskey.
I just know there's like a pint and then there's a shot glass, and I just went boom, 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 like 7 in a row.
Okay.
I don't know, I didn't die, but so we're trying to go to the parade in Southie. And I remember my friend like really wanted to see the bagpipes for some reason. I don't know if she had like a friend who was like in it or something, whatever. And she kept being like, we got to get there for the bagpipes. Basically, I made such a scene that we missed the bagpipes and it was a huge like issue. So I ran off away from my friends. I was like, fine, everyone's mad at me. I'm just going to go be by myself. Broke into 2 different houses, shoved someone into a beer pong table, and then stole their alcohol. And at that point, like the booze wasn't doing it anymore. Like something happened in my brain where it was like, wait, like I'm not getting like drunk like I normally do. And I think for me, that was like my higher power, like blocking me from it to be like, this is not your solution anymore. Like we got to let go of this. And so I remember driving to work somehow. I don't know why I was driving to work that morning because it was a Monday. I remember driving to work and I'm thinking like, what tree can I crash my car into to just end this? Like, I can't imagine, you know, and the big book talks about this jumping off place. Like, I can't imagine a life with alcohol, but I also can't imagine a life without it, right? Like, how am I going to have it in my life, but like figure out how to do it or not have it? Like, I couldn't figure it out. So I'm like, well, I'll just end it, right? Something came over me and made me think of my uncle who's been sober in AA for like 30 something years at this point. And I thought of him and I remember, you know, he used to come to cookouts and stuff and like have a seltzer and like he was happy. And I was like, oh, okay, like uncle, you know, whatever. I don't think I should break his anonymity, but I'm like, okay, maybe there's hope. So I get to work. I took that test online. It's like 17 questions to take if you might be an alcoholic. And you have to get like, I don't know, 3 or 4 right to maybe have a problem. I got all of them right, of course.
Such a brag.
Not surprising.
Overachiever.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, let me like check this AA thing out. And I called Central Service. And this is like the first moment that I was like, I'm going to be okay. Because I told this guy, like he picked up and the poor guy, I was like, like, I like want to die. And like, I don't know what to do and help me. And he was like, first of all, he's like, you're going to be all right. And I like started crying. I was like, oh my God, like I trusted him, you know? And like, I could tell that he understood me and he wasn't judging me. Like there was absolutely no judgment in his voice. And he's like, where do you live? Give me your zip code. I was like, that's a little creepy, but it's this. And he was like, okay, there's a meeting tonight at this place, whatever. And I was like, whoa, relax. Like, I'm not going anywhere tonight. And he's like, all right, what about tomorrow? I was like, okay. So he gave me the address to go to a meeting. And I went to my first meeting. And I haven't drank since that Monday. Like that Monday, I'm in the morning, I'm driving to work wanting to end my life. And by the end of the day, I'm like, there's hope.
Amen.
And so I go to my meeting, long story short, just to wrap that part up. I actually that meeting I hated because I remember there was someone with purple hair and we held hands and I was like, those are 2 things I'm not gonna be into. I don't know why the purple hair bothered me so much, but like at that time I was just like, these people. Oh my God. So there was literally a guy, an older gentleman in a trench coat selling watches out of his trench coat. did not have the DTs. I was like, this is seriously, this happened. I don't know who he was. I feel like I've never seen him since, but I was like, this whole AA thing, there's like weird stuff going on. I'm not doing this. But I went to a meeting the next day. I said, I'm going to try this again. And by the end of that meeting, I had, like, everyone kept sharing, if you need help, get a sponsor. And I was like, I don't know what a sponsor is, but like everyone keeps sharing, like, I was a mess. Now I'm sober and I'm happy. And I was like, okay, sobriety, happiness, you get a sponsor. All right. So I went up to the first girl that looked like she knew what was going on. And I was like, I think I need a sponsor. And she was like, I'll be your sponsor. And I was like, all right. So by the end of that meeting, I had a sponsor. She gave me a big book and she gave me a job to do the coffee. And I remember thinking the coffee was so important. Like, she's like, you have to get here at this time and do this, whatever. I'm like, oh, I don't go. Like, they're not going to have coffee. Like, no one else is going to be able to make it or know how to make it. But I think that's why it works, right?
I agree.
And so I dove into the steps immediately because I hated early sobriety so much. And I tried to get sober before, like on my own, like fakely, you know, I'd be like, I'm an alcoholic, like I'm gonna like just smoke weed, or like I'm gonna like listen to, I don't know, like inspirational videos or like affirmation. Like I just tried all that weird stuff. But this time I remember being like, I can't do this again. Like I hate early sobriety so much. It's like moving through molasses. Like I won't survive this again. So I'm like, all right, they're giving me this equation, and I'm very like, I'm a dietitian. I'm very like science, like data driven. And so I'm like, all right, they say this is the solution, right, for this problem that I have. And I have to work with the sponsor to do the steps, to have the spiritual experience, whatever that is. I grew up atheist, so I was like, I don't know about all that. But I had no choice, you know, and she'd be like, what's your other option? I'm like, honestly, nothing. So I'll do everything you say. And if it doesn't work, I can say I tried and I can go back to drinking. And so I remember like each step going through, and slowly but surely, like I could breathe on my own, which was wild. Like I could be okay in my own skin, not needing anything to take me out of it. And I was like, I don't know what's happening, but it's really magical and special. And I remember like the first few months, I would walk by liquor stores like this, or like drive the way around, or walk the way around, whatever. And I just did my fifth step, and I remember walking past the liquor store and like looking at it and being like, I don't want you. Like it was like neutral, you know. And this is at like 5 months sober. And I or maybe a little earlier than that, but I finished the steps at 6 months. And this is something that really pisses me off, and I think is really important to mention. Someone told me you shouldn't be sponsoring people at 6 months sober because you haven't buried anybody or something like that. It was some like weird burying people, some like, and I was like, first of all, how do you even know that? Because I lost a lot of people to it. But I was
thinking
like,
because we kill people and we bury their, like, I'm thinking like,
no, I think he meant like you haven't lived the, you know, because I was
until you clean
25
your own
too.
house,
Yeah,
right,
yeah. And my sponsor was like, actually, what the book says is like, having had this experience yourself, you can offer much practical advice. That's what it says. It says if you've been through the steps, whether it's within 5 minutes, not that you would ever do that, but or 70 years, like you have something to offer someone, and we're trying to not bury people. So like if you have that solution and you've done that work, to me, it would have been selfish to hold back, right? And so I found this girl at this meeting that looked like she needed help. And I was like, do you need a sponsor? Like, I'm ready to sponsor. And we're really good friends to this day. She's like, I felt so bad for you that I just said yes, because I didn't really like, it made me sort of uncomfortable because you were so excited about it. So I just said yes. And ever since then, I've had a really interesting relationship with my recovery, where I was just in AA completely, like hardcore, like big book thumper, whatever you want to call it, for I guess, 8 years. And then this past year, actually, maybe it started like 2 years ago, I stopped feeling like I was growing, right? Like I felt like I had done the steps a million times. I was sponsoring all these people. I was doing all this stuff, going to all different kinds of meetings, and it wasn't feeding my soul in the way that it had been. And I just kept going. I was like, I don't know, this happens to people. I'm just going to try this, change this up, go to this meeting. I like moved to a different, like, country, to a different city, and tried new meetings there. And I wasn't doing it, and I wasn't feeling my connection to my higher power. And I overcame that atheist stuff, thank God. But I had a lot of judgment for myself. You know, I thought, like everyone says, if you leave AA, you know, you're going to drink, you're going to die. And so I had all of this sort of preconceived notion and judgment around myself that was going to be my like self-fulfilling prophecy almost, you know? And so I fought it for a while. I did a ton of work on it, worked on it with my sponsor, and like talked about it in meetings and all this stuff. And I decided, I'm like, I feel really connected to my higher power meditation. I'm just going to meditate on this until I have some sort of answer. And so over the course of like the next few weeks, I kept feeling in meditation, literal like hands on my back, like pushing me out. Like I could feel it, something pushing me out of the rooms. And I love AA, and I'm like still like a huge fan. I like recommend people to it all the time. As you can see, I still talk that lingo, right? It's in my blood. It's like who I am still. But what I'm working on now over the last year, I did finally leave AA, whatever that even means. And I'm really getting into like learning other things like Buddhism, and like, you know, deeper into meditation and like astrology stuff. And I'm still connected to AA extremely close. Like all of my friends are sober.
Mm-hmm.
I just had friends. I just had dinner last night with a friend who's sober. So I'm just sort of like trying to be easy on myself, because I actually feel really awesome. And I think this is something I needed to hear when I was making this decision, that like, it doesn't have to look any one way. And I was one of those people that was like, it's AA or it's nothing. And now I work in a treatment center, and I'm like, I see that's not the case, you know, like I hear, you know, we have a lot of clients who are like, that AA, it's not going to work for me. And so I'd rather help them find something that's going to work for them than have them relapse and die in AA. Because that's how I was feeling. I was like, you know what? My soul's dying. And it's nothing against AA. It's just like we sort of outgrew each other. And my friend was like, would you rather stay in AA and not get what you need and potentially relapse? Or would you rather go leave, do something else, and like get your medicine? And so that's what I did. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing and for allowing the transparency, and for not hiding that, because I was old school. Getting sober in 87, it was one way.
Mm-hmm.
And opening up to other modalities and other ways of treatment. Everyone's like, oh, I won't do the steps. I can't do this. I can't do that. Just go into a fellowship. Whatever, just
of any kind. Mm-hmm.
Just be with people,
mm-hmm.
and find your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, like for myself, I didn't want AA. I didn't want to be an alcoholic. I didn't want to be like those people. But when I went in the fellowship, not the work yet, just the fellowship,
yep.
And I found people that were telling my story. I was seeing people staying sober no matter what life threw at them. I started to fall in love with the fellowship, which then encouraged me to get involved into the work and do the work and heal myself so that I can help others.
Exactly.
And that's what it was all about. So, So thank you for your total transparency and for being here tonight. I feel blessed that I heard your story, and I'm just so grateful that you're here with us.
Yeah.
Before I hand it over to Christine, I want Hi Harmony King and Helen Houle saying thank you. Wendy McFarland, thank you for sharing your story.
Harry and I go way back.
And Ginny Ann,
No.
Christina is a radiant, beautiful lady.
Aww.
I'm so happy her and my paths crossed years ago. She has a huge success story. and is absolutely on a wonderful journey. She helps many recovery in and day out. Hi, Ginny Ann and and Christopher.
Yeah, ladies.
Yeah. Christina, again, it's an honor and privilege to be here with you, to witness your journey, to see who you are. And you're still climbing.
Yeah,
You're now going to another level with your education.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's been work.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of work, especially this.
Before you start,
Yeah.
I just want to say, if anyone wants to call in to speak to these ladies, the number is 978-659-0072. Again, 978-659-0072. That's it.
All right. Yeah, we'd love to hear from anyone.
Oh, I saw your last name. Tyler, where's the king? He's on the floor.
He did, and now he's taking a nap.
Yes.
At Mama's feet.
Yes.
Oh my God, he's too much. He heard his name. Hi.
Yes.
Hi, bud. So yeah, that's one of the main or biggest supports in my recovery right there is this creature.
Amen.
But no, it's been work. The past, 4 years especially, it's all been work. I got clean before I got sober. I was viciously addicted to amphetamines, viciously, and I was prescribed them, and that's how I constantly justified it.
Yep.
It was constantly like, I'm being prescribed this. This is fine. This is totally fine. It's not like I'm over medicating myself. I was extremely. I was able to get clean. I immersed myself into a partial hospitalization program. I started going to meetings. I started seeing a therapist twice a week, and I was able to maintain my clean time. And then about 4 years ago, it was like a breakup with alcohol.
Yep.
It was like a break, but not a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that toxic relationship that just keeps coming back, and there's no good from it. It wasn't a struggle. I didn't have severe cravings when I stopped drinking. It was almost as if my higher power was like, hey, she's not going to get this on her own. We need to start making her physically sick every time she takes a sip of alcohol. And that's what happened. Whether I had 1 drink or 3 drinks, I became violently sick.
Whoa.
I became violently sick. I wouldn't need to be intoxicated. I wouldn't need to have a buzz. My body was just kind of like, you don't need that. Like, you know better than this. You're a risk all on your own. You don't need any kind of substance. And that's really when I completely stopped and said, I no longer need this. You don't have a purpose in my life. You have no place for me. I don't need to give in to you. You bring nothing good to my life. And I've been sober ever since.
Amen.
And it's been a really, really great thing in my life. I've been able to accomplish education, which I was after I got clean was when I started to immerse myself a little bit more in education and really start following that path on its own. But I'm going to talk particularly about the past year in recovery.
Yeah.
Which all in 1 year, I bought a home. I got married. We added a new member to our family, which is Bauer, our 16-month golden retriever. And this past year was a really hard year emotionally, despite having all of these beautiful, wonderful things going on around me. I was really struggling to be happy. And I was fighting for it. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, where you're just reaching at stuff. And I'm finally at that place where I'm like, okay, I'm getting some peace in my life. I'm getting louder about my story. I'm becoming more transparent about it. Yeah. And it's been a great journey. It has been a good year, but it's been a difficult one. The wedding, getting married, I'm finally saying this, that was an accomplishment in my life. I've been so good.
It was a very beautiful wedding.
It was.
You were a stunning bride.
Thank you. That wore black.
I love that.
I wouldn't have you in anything else. When you said I'm wearing black, I didn't even flinch. I'm like, of course you are. Yes. And I'm like, and how did Tyler handle it? How did Tyler's mom and dad?
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
They were wonderful about it. And my mom too. My mom was good. She might have prayed to St. Jude a couple times, but she was okay with it.
Yeah, it was stunning.
She was really, really good with it. My family were really a big support for me, throughout the past year. And there was some trickiness there where I don't know what weddings and babies apparently bring something out in people.
Yes.
That
Oh,
I'm worried-
yeah.
Weddings and babies, like
Mhm.
people get a little crazy, people get a little demanding, and I was just kind of like, I just wanted my dogs there. Like that's all I give. I'm just like I just need my boys there, and those two are really what helped me get through this past year. There were some days where I'm like, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd have Bauer in my face at 6 a.m. and Chase, also in my face needing to go out. And I'm just like, let's do this, boys. We got another day ahead of us. These two have also been incorporated into my work now,
Which is awesome.
Which is amazing.
which is amazing.
Which
Lexi
helps the
knows
clients.
they help them so much. People
Yeah.
look forward to seeing those two there.
Mhm.
What these animals have done for me in the past year is incredible. And it's wild to say when we initially got Bauer, the 15-month-old, I didn't want him. And I was terrible. I was just like, this thing is going to be a disruption to my life. I am busy enough. I don't want to take care. Even though I did take take care of him, I was just kind of like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
Fast forward a year later, I'm like, how did I live without you? I'm like, how did
I live without him?
I know.
I only see him like once a month.
I know. I'm just like, I look at them and I'm just like, these two creatures have brought such incredible peace into my life.
Mm.
And it's more than I could ever ask for. They are one of the only things in this world that I can say I love absolutely unconditionally, besides my mom, is my two dogs.
I love it.
And her husband as well.
Oh, yeah.
Ty, I got you back.
Tyler's that poor guy is so used to this.
He's the best.
He's taking a back seat.
He truly is the best. And to have a partner in my life, the guy that I chose to be with, the guy that I chose to marry, he is always in my corner.
Yep.
Tyler is predictable. He is balanced. I know exactly. Thank you, Cole.
I got you, babe.
I know exactly what I'm gonna get from him, but on the other hand, Tyler and I are
On the other hand, he has no idea what he's getting from you.
none, zero.
Who's
Zero.
coming
He doesn't know. He's just like, what did we get and what's on the roller coaster today? That's what he says. He goes, being with you is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
It is. He goes, I don't know if it's gonna be a good day. I don't know if it's gonna be a bad day. And he's accepted all of those wild pieces of me.
Yeah.
Fully. Unconditionally, he has accepted that. He's just like, we don't need any I don't need to be unpredictable. You got it.
You take the cake.
You take it all. Like, I never know what I'm getting. You keep me on my toes. But before he and I got together, we were whole people.
Yep.
We were already whole people. Like, yes, of course, if things were ever to go south, it would be bad. But he is a whole person with his own hobbies, with his own identity outside of it, like our
Yep.
marriage. And I encourage that for people that are newly sober and they want to get into a relationship. I'm like, figure out who you are.
Yep.
Figure out what your values are and what you actually like, because that's kind of been maybe a little fuzzy for a little bit,
Yeah.
especially when you're in active addiction. So I love that about being with him, is that I accept him for exactly who he is, and he accepts me for exactly who I am.
Amen.
And we're those whole ass people without each other.
Yeah.
And I that's exactly what I wanted.
I should have done that. Listen, take it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You've seen it go well.
Yep.
You've seen it not go well.
Yep.
With me. I was in 4 relationships my first year. 4. So that means 4 breakups.
Yeah. God
That's
bless
a lot.
You.
And
Yeah.
then it led me to not
But
great
no
decisions.
relapses, right?
No.
You need the relationships will go
No,
bad.
I stayed
You would
stayed
stay
sober. Yeah, I stayed sober because I was taught whatever you do, no matter what, just put your recovery before that thing. It doesn't matter. Whatever
Yes.
you do, it's okay. You don't have to come in and be perfect. But if you put your recovery first, you'll be all right. But it was very hard to stay sober through that. And I really love that you honored that and you listened to that, because it saves you a lot of pain.
Yeah. And then that's what everyone gets mad about when they come in the program. It doesn't say anywhere in the book that you can't have a relationship. And it's like, dude, you don't even know what you like yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. Like,
You have no clue. I skied all my life.
do you hate skiing?
Effing hate it.
Hate it. Right. Like,
I
do you-
was forced to ski because I came from a family of skiers.
Yep.
I love cross country. I'm in love with that. That's more I'm outside, I'm in the woods, I'm in nature. Than being freezing, going down a hill. And you know how I learned was they put skis on my feet and shoved me down a hill, and you learn.
Mhm.
You know? So you don't know what you like. You have no about recovery. It's all self-exploring, and you can change your mind mid-air and do something totally different. But if you take someone hostage with you, it's just it's one less amend.
And
For
that's
real.
like thing, like learning this past year. Like when I first got clean, I was spending a ton of time at animal shelters, a ton of volunteering wherever I could go. Now having these two with me, I realized like I need like animals in my life because I trust them more than people. Like it's so much easier. For me.
You trust Ty too, though.
I
still got you, buddy.
Tyler, I'm gonna go home and Tyler's gonna go. I absolutely love Cole. Cole had my back. Cole, that's what I'm gonna get. But it's true. You want to learn who you are, what you like, what your values are,
Right.
what helps you take care of
Like,
yourself.
did you ever in a million years think you would go back to school?
Never.
Did you ever think you were going to get out of that relationship that you were in and recover from
No,
that?
I never thought it. But when I got out of that last relationship, it took a couple broken bones, like that literal broken bones for me to be like, okay, I'm not going to sit through this. Like, it wasn't the emotional piece that got me away. It wasn't the emotional abuse. It was once that physical contact was made, I was like,
that was it.
I was like, that's a
Good
wrap
for
for me.
you.
I'm not gonna. I've learned this time and time and time again that once is not it. Why am I gonna say this? I didn't need to learn that for whatever it would have been a fifth or sixth time. So once it got to that and I was clean, I was like, I don't want this because he's going to do it again. Got out of it and I stayed single for a while. I stayed single for, it was over a year and I just worked on myself. I went to therapy. I really tried to kind of break that pattern of getting into these really unhealthy relationship with men that had kind of dark sides, which is what I was kind of always driven to. Always driven to. Loved it for whatever reason because it was chaos.
Can't relate.
Right?
What's that like?
It was so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos is so
Because
comfortable.
I love to fix. I'm like a fixer. I'm like, let me fix you. I
Let-
want to focus on
Let
myself.
me fix and fight. Like that was it. Fixing and fighting,
Mhm.
trying to fix and fight. And that
Yeah.
became the norm. And that just became so comfortable and just so toxic.
And it's a high in a way.
It's a high. Once I no longer had that, I was like, things are calm. And it's like things are like predictable. I don't
Mhm.
have to worry about what kind of mood or what kind of fight or what I did wrong or what I said or any of that. It was really uncomfortable, but I learned how to become really comfortable with that peace. I was uncomfortable with the peace in my life, and now I'm just like, I love the predictability.
Mhm.
Because even as predictable and as routine as I am, something can be thrown in my way. But I'm in a much better place to be able to adapt and deal with those things as they come. It's just a better life. It's just a healthier life. But the toxic relationships were really an addiction for me.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Feel
so
that.
comfortable. So comfortable for me.
And then what made you go back to school? All of a sudden you're like, I'm going to go to school.
So I started going back to school. It was couple years after I first initially got clean, and I was just like, it's not too late for this.
Right.
I know I want to do more. I know I already have a background in psych.
Yeah.
I already have an associate's in psych. Let me just keep going. Let me see where I can go from here. And I did.
Yeah.
And I kept going. And I kept going.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, because there's always going to be more degrees to get.
Yeah.
Going for psych.
That's right. She's going for a doctorate.
Listen, I'm picking out schools right now. I'm having a really hard time finding a doctoral program that I'll be able to do virtually, because I don't want to leave my dogs for 2 days a week.
Yeah.
God, no.
And
Oh my
I
God.
can't do that. I can't do a cohort that's 2 days a week. So I'm still trying to find a suitable school.
The right and perfect one is there.
It's there, and I'm going to keep looking.
Absolutely. And if anyone's listening to our show tonight that know of anything, this
Please,
is how
please send it to
networking
me.
happens, so send it our way for sure.
I'm looking to do either a PSYD or a PhD in counseling. One's a 5-year, one's a 7-year. I'm open to either.
Good.
So
Awesome. That is so beautiful.
But Harmony says, same.
Yes.
I love Harmony.
Right. Oh, Harmony's applying to come do an internship with me at the police department.
You're going to love every moment of it.
We know each other.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Harmony, we were teenagers together. We went to Methuen High. Oh,
Get the
yeah.
hell out of town.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys were shit shows together.
Big shit shows.
All right.
Big shit shows.
Katie Ann King, love this. Thanks, Harmony. I totally can relate with the hostage situations that drain me. And of course, Ty, I love you. Lindsay Martin, I love them so much. So I had a question for you in both of you, and I totally forget what it was when I was thinking of. Ginny Ann is on this. So I know at one point you two started to do something with the homeless in Lowell or
we were doing
Nashua.
outreach every single
How did you
Saturday
start
and
that?
Sunday. So
just one day you just said, "Hey, let's go
we're
to
gonna,
Nashua."
It was during, we just said it was in Manchester.
Manchester.
We knew that there was a high need. They were kind of getting rid of all of the tents in that area for the homeless. And I was like, hey, they're going to need shit. People are like posting up everywhere that they can. There's tons of shelters. Let's get out there. Let's donate things. Let's bring food. Let's do all that because there's a major need right now. People gave donations. Subaru gave donations. People would literally just give us a bunch of stuff, and we would create care packages of like wipes, hairbrushes, wound care, things like that for people, waters. So we just did it ourselves. People would just donate.
Yeah.
People would donate. We were not, we were humble about it. We weren't afraid to ask.
That's
Ginny Ann would
awesome.
get on a live and be like, hey, wants to give us some shit to help the homeless right now. Like, and people really, really helped them. We went out there.
Yep.
We went to different tent cities, talked to people.
Yes.
It was really, really, really good.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So I like that you two work with each other. So why don't you give us a pitch about Meta and who are they? If someone is looking for Meta, what does Meta do?
So,
and who would go to Meta?
So we are a substance use disorder facility. We are a day program as well as an intensive outpatient program. We provide a plethora of different modalities of counseling, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, motivational interviewing. We have assigned master's level therapists, case managers, program directors. So anybody, I think it's a good fit for after somebody has a little bit of that stability and just a little bit of time of sobriety, just a little bit of a foundation. I would say after somebody has gone through a detox or CSS process, if they're looking to continue care, to continue treatment, to continue their journey, it would be an excellent fit.
Awesome.
I think that people should have that, a little bit of foundation, not a ton. I'm saying just
don't come straight in off of like a detox and not even finish a detax.
Right.
Hey, I'm here.
Like, don't come in and have to make me worry, like, think I'm going to have to use Narcan on it. Like, I'd like a little, just a little bit of stability. Right. And
we also have a dietitian.
Lexy is the dietitian there. Yes.
Which is
and
unique.
How is food, what we eat, what does that have to do with recovery?
Great question.
Yes.
So, and it's funny because we'll get clients and they'll be like, are we doing a nutrition group? Like, why are we doing nutrition? Like, this has nothing to do, but, and so I'm like, sit for a second, right? So when you think about it, let's talk about like sugar, right? This is a really popular topic, sugar in early recovery. People are like, pick up or light up, eat all the sugar you want, like have all the ice cream, like blah, 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 right? And although you don't want to come in and feel like, oh, I have to be perfect and do all these things perfectly, what I see is that those behaviors stick with you for months and then years and then years and then years. And when you're putting those sort of foods into your body, especially like high sugar, highly processed foods, what you're usually not putting into your body, foods that help your mental health, right? And so people get into this routine of having these behaviors that are not serving them physically, mentally, spiritually, right? And they're feeling like shit because of how they're eating or whatever it is, exercising, whatever, like other lifestyle stuff. And that if you are feeling shitty enough, it might be like, fuck it, you know, all right, whatever. I feel like shit. I'm just going to pick up again, you know?
Yeah.
So when we can start early on, like people in early recovery, like start having that conversation about like, yeah, have some ice cream. Like all foods fit. We're not saying don't eat sugar, but let's start talking about how else you can take care of yourself, right? Because how you do one thing can be how you do everything. And so if you're going to come in and we're going to really work on your recovery, let's talk about how you're taking care of your body too,
Yeah.
right? Because that's a part of the equation. So in my experience, they support each other.
So after doing the work of getting sober and doing the work in the steps, my first addiction was sugar, and I didn't know it until I did my
Very
writing.
common.
Yes.
Yep.
And I
See it all the
could
time.
equate that M&Ms, that candy dish of going and taking and hurry up before someone else takes. And then the hoard, it's like the whole mentality.
Yes.
I walked it all the way back until I was a kid, and that's just how my drinking was.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, they
Same
really go
exact
hand
way.
in hand.
They really do. So nutritionist at Meta.
At Meta, yeah.
So do you do groups, or is this something an extra part of Meta? Like people would come and say, hey, I want to speak to a nutritionist, or are you there every day talking about nutrition with people?
So I'm there like part-time, and I do groups. I do one group that I'm really fired up about and love so much is the women's group.
Yeah.
We have so much fun, and like we definitely talk about, you know, nutrition, body image, you know, because that's a huge thing too. A lot of people will say, I don't want to, especially like a hard drug that leads to weight loss, right? I don't want to give that up because I don't want to gain weight. So like weight gain and sobriety is a huge thing we talk about, but like developing more positive body image. But we usually in that group, like we end up crying, like, cause I'll have them do like a poetry, like, you know, thing. And then the other group is a co-ed group that is 100% like nutrition and wellness focused. So we'll do, you know, we'll talk about sugar addiction. We'll talk about best foods for anxiety and depression, like good foods for mental health. We'll talk about.
So let's do anxiety and depression. What would be good foods for someone to be eating that's depressed?
So it's really, it's as simple as like avoiding processed, high sugar, high fat foods and focusing on whole foods. So like as many whole foods as you can possibly eat, that's going to support your mental health. There's a lot of like science and stuff that I won't get into on that, but those are sort of like it's a very clear line between those two things.
Awesome. And where is Meta, girls?
So we have a location in Haverhill and in North Reading. We're right in downtown Haverhill, and then we're on Concord Street in North Reading. Both offer partial hospitalization program as well as intensive outpatient.
Yeah. And if someone needed to get in contact with Meta, what would they do?
Go right to the website, call the number that's on that website, and you can also send an internet request as well. But calling that number, you'll get a live
normal person that is like
in
a real person.
However, they are live.
Yeah.
And it's Meta, META.
You got it.
Absolutely. And so I thank you both. If someone's listening tonight and they're struggling with getting sober or they're struggling in recovery, what would be some advice that you would
reach out?
Okay.
Reach out.
You reach out. What about you?
I love the acronym, so cheesy, but hope, hold on, pain ends.
Amen.
Like I still use that, you know, when I'm having, you know, rough times in sobriety. I just think like it does, you know, and when you're in it, you think like this is never going to end. I'm never going to feel better. But there's always, if you ask for help, you're always going to get to that other side. And then you're like, I'm so glad I did, you know?
And I'm huge. The acronym saved my life. Like sober was my favorite one. Sober, son of a bitch, everything's real. And I'm like, oh, is it ever, you know? And and that's what sobriety is all about. So I thank you both for coming. I thank you for your transparency. To any of our listeners, feel free to reach out to these ladies. You can find them on Facebook. You can meet them at Meta. You can reach out to me and I can get you connected. I just want to remind everyone that the alkathons will be posted on Facebook. I'm sorry that I didn't bring them tonight to read them off, but they will be on Facebook. They'll be on my personal page. They will be on my business pages. They will be on Circle of Hope. Just know that you're not alone. No matter how bad it gets, there's no reason to drink, none whatsoever. So just let it pass. You know, my first year, my therapist kept on saying, you cannot let that thought last longer than 3 seconds, because when it gets momentum, the hamster on the wheel starts getting its speed, you know, and just move the energy, move it with a jumping jack or a word or a breath, but just move it. And then all of a sudden you realize like you're just living life and you didn't even know like that's what you were doing, and let the miracle happen. So I thank you all for tuning in tonight. I thank Lou for always being here, being my biggest support back there, our production guy, and Costa Broadcasting for allowing us to be here. So it's tough times. If you're struggling during holidays, please, 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 please reach out. Connection is what recovery is all about. And until our next show, please stay safe, please stay sober, and just know that if no one told you that loved you today, I love you, and have an amazing evening. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.